Start recording. Welcome back, everyone. We have another chapter review. We've actually made it through quite a bit of subtle sound here. We are now on to chapter 16. For those that aren't aware, we don't actually read the whole book. We're just going to be talking about these sections that are highlighted in each book. Someone who had this book before me highlighted them. I actually got this book at a it was at one of those book drops. So at the book drop, I was able to get it. It just had some highlights in it, a little note to who it was being given to. And if depending how it all ends, if we'll reach out to Miss Carolyn, who was the owner of this book. It's actually given to Carolyn in 1999. So February 10th, 1999, about 24 years ago. This book was written in the 90s. Looks like 96 maybe. So I was 4 years old when this book was published. Anyway, let's get right into it. So chapter 16, I have chapters 1 through 15 posted on the channel. You're always welcome to check those out. Chapter 16, no big deal. Just to be ordinary is the most difficult thing. To be plain, to be simple, not make a fuss about anything. This is our Zen life. Our Zen life. Our Zen life is an ordinary life. When we start adding things to it, as Naijo Senzaki said, it's like painting legs on a snake. Just to be ordinary is the most difficult thing. To be plain, to be simple, not to make a fuss about anything. This is our Zen life. And I try and let you have a moment to screenshot a page if needed, or if you want to pause it so you can just at least read through it. I like to try and let you guys do that as well, just so you can kind of read as much as you'd like. Practicing together is a wonderful, extraordinary experience, yet we are so much in it that we can't even talk about it. There is nothing to say. Every single act, everything we do is an expression of our true nature. We may not know it, we may not be aware of it, we may not even think about it, we have any insight, but everything we do is an expression of who we are. Standing up, sitting down, eating, drinking, laughing, crying, washing our bowls, especially if we do it unselfconsciously. And we have never done anything of it before. This is the first time sitting, the first kinhin we have ever experienced. We are fresh, completely fresh, taking nothing for granted, with no idea about what Zen is. Everything is seen as it is for the very first time. Goes on to say, because I'll show you right here. So actually, I just read the one highlighted part on these 2 pages. So this is rare that I see so little highlighted. But we will go ahead and see what that's all about. Nor do we hold anything back. We don't think next time things will be easier. I'll just work harder. I'm actually noticing a little bit of a lag on the live stream. So what I'm going to do is this will just be a pre-recorded. Let me see here. Well, it's kind of settling down now. I had a few things being uploaded, so it looked like it was using more CPU power than I would have liked. But yeah, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to go ahead and pause the stream. We'll let the studio audience out of the class. If you're watching this on Twitch, I apologize. It's just I'd rather have the recording be good, and I don't want to necessarily give you guys a choppy broadcast. I'll work on that for the next stream tomorrow, but yeah, we'll go ahead and stop the stream. We'll just do the video recording, but within about an hour you can check this out on YouTube, so if you're interested, I recommend doing so. But I appreciate you being here in the stream for as long as you have been, and we will talk to each other again real soon. Y'all take it easy. All right. So, if you're watching this, it means
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. In case you haven't noticed, it's hard to trust anything you hear right now. We've heard you. We're grateful that you trust.
all right. Sorry about that. I know we just had a little bit of technical issues going on. That was just me making a couple revisions to the studio software to make sure it was running a little more smoothly, but we'll see. Need to go through my computer a little bit later and remove. Got hundreds of gigabytes of videos right now uploaded. Or not uploaded, but they're just basically sitting on my desktop. But yeah, it goes on to say, nor do we hold anything back. We don't think next time things will be easier. I'll work harder. I'll be able to concentrate better. I'll do better. Right now is all we have. That's it. So let's be here. Let's burn up our resources unstingingly. When we start to think we have something, we just forget about it. We start all over again, going deeper and deeper, never thinking we have completely understood. Some people ask me, when did you finish your Zen training? I have never finished. There is no end to it. When we think we have attained something, we're in trouble. We need to wash away everything and become a beginner over and over and over again. A young woman called me from California to tell me she had cancer. Very worried, very upset, she said, I am preparing to die. I said, how are you preparing to live? They go together. And then I asked her, do you know any people who need help? She said, lots. I told her, well, you better get busy. Don't worry about your lump. Find somebody else to help. Later, it turned out that this young woman thought what this young woman thought was cancer was just a benign tumor. Once there was a monk who spent 3 years at the famous Master Hogan's place without going to see him. Finally, Hogan asked him why he never came to inquire about Buddhism. The monk said, before this, I was with Master Seiho, and I heard the doctrine and attained peace and bliss. Hogan asked him what words had brought him this peace, and the monk said he had asked Seiho, how is it, the self of discipline? Seiho had responded, the lamp boy is looking for the light. Hogan said, well, there's a very nice phrase, but you probably have not understood it. So the monk, a little bit angered that his wonderful realization was being questioned, told Hogan, well, this is how I understand it. The lamp boy is in charge of the lights. Taking the light to go look for the light is my taking the self to look for the self, Hogan said. I knew it. You have not understood it at all. If that were Buddhism, it would never last until now. The monk was very upset. He got up at once and started to leave, thinking to himself, what am I what am I doing studying under such a fool? He doesn't even see how wonderful my understanding is. After going a little way, it occurred to him that this Hogan was supposed to be a man of great spiritual attainment, one of the wisest teachers around, so maybe there was something to what he said. So he went back, and this time he said, I've been wrong. I bow and ask pardon. In reverence and repentance I ask, how is it the self of this disciple? Hogan replied, the lamp boy is looking for the light. And with this, suddenly the monk had true enlightenment. What happened? The first time the monk was dwelling in the realm of the intellect of the concepts of somebody else's words, some prepared answer, taking the self to look for the self. And was his imitative way of saying the self is Buddha and is no more than painting a picture. When Hogan rejected his answer, the monk's angry reaction was a confirmation that he hadn't really understood. Yet he went back and asked for Hogan's pardon. This is the point, the essential matter, that he, and goes on to highlight, let go of his egocentric self to allow himself to become one with his teacher. When he asked Hogan's pardon, those words were his own. There you go. So if you need to take a picture, great quality right there. One second. Sorry about that. I just wanted to get this positioned a little bit better. I can tell these next 2 pages have a lot going on them. All right. So this is the point, the essential matter, that he let go of his egocentric self to allow himself to become one with his teacher. When he asked Hogan's pardon, those words were his own. So it goes on down here to say, I'm just going to keep reading, I guess. So it is with us. Some of you come and give me very fine phrases, but where do they come from? Are they your own? Are they from your own experience? If they are, they come forth in a very different way from phrases taken from a book or from someone else's words. I like that. I like that. So it is with us. Some of you come and give me very fine phrases, but where do they come from? Are they your own? Are they from your own experience? If they are, they come forth in a very different way from phrases taken from a book or from someone else's words. What is your living experience of this? How do you express it? Yesterday, I asked somebody to sing me a quick song, or sing me a song. Quick, right on the spot, and the person did. No self-consciousness, no, oh, I'm nervous, I can't perform, I'm not good enough, I don't know it yet. It happened to be a Bach aria. It was a fresh, clear expression of the mood practice, and it was spontaneous and beautiful. When we let go of all of our intellectual stuff, all our indirect and static knowledge, we allow ourselves to get in touch with the dynamic and direct intuitive understanding that we all have. And out of this comes real freedom, freedom to express whatever is in the moment. Like the burglar who locked his son in a chest as a way of teaching him his trade. A Zen teacher puts the student in a box from which there seems to be no way out. The student must find the answer in his or her own way. A good Zen teacher puts the student in a box from where there seems to be no way out. This student must find the answer in his or her own way. Now this book, I'm going to keep going here, but I haven't been reading too much of it other than the highlighted areas, which you've seen in the first 15 videos. But if this is one of your first times seeing this, I just want to let you know, I do plan on sending this to someone. So if there's someone out here who wants this book, you can read it, and if you want, you can do the exact same thing I'm doing. The camera you're looking at me on was a $50 camera off Amazon. I know it's expensive to some people. It's a 4K camera. It's a webcam. Excuse me. It's very low cost for what we're doing here. Microphone, $50. I have a pair of Apple headphones that I'd used for like the first 10 videos, I think. I still use them, but right now I'm just using the headset. And to me, I think it's like between this, my computer, it's like between just the setup that you're looking at and this green screen behind me, maybe like $100, $150. Yeah, it's like 50, 50, or 50, 60, 40. Yeah, no, you could get this whole setup for $150 or less, and you can have tons of videos. And it's good for something like this, where it's like if you want, it'd be really cool to send this book to someone and they do the exact same thing I'm doing, and I'll come to all your videos and we'll talk about it, and and then uh, and then you send this book to someone else, and they need to do the same thing, and then we kind of have like a sisterhood of the traveling Maureen, sisterhood of the traveling bands, which is also, I've heard, a good book. I saw the Hollywood adaptation. It wasn't bad. America Ferrera. Pretty good. Anyway, I digress. So, a good Zen teacher puts the student in a box from which there seems to be no way out. The student must find his or her own way out. So you can see we're actually right there. And I'm just going to keep going. We're just going to finish this chapter out loud. Excuse me. I almost want to be like a teacher, be like, all right, class. I just had an idea. I was like, I could read like Dr. Seuss books. I think they're in the public domain, but let's keep going here. The more we practice, the more we come to know our own minds, and we come to realize the absolute hopelessness of the mind restrained by ego. Okay, I can already tell this is getting big. Sorry. The more we practice, the more we come to know our own minds, and we come to realize the absolute hopelessness of the mind restrained by ego. The more we practice, the more we come to know our own minds, and the more we realize the absolute hopelessness of our mind restrained by the ego. All our accumulated knowledge is inadequate. Our teacher tells us over and over again, be simple, be plain, be ordinary, be open, have no fixed ideas. And still, we hang on to the idea that we can achieve something. Finally, we give it up. A young man told me that he was walking, step after step and step after step, and how wonderful it was. Finally, he had given up on the idea he had to do something, and when he completely surrendered into this, then everything goes quite smoothly. When we give up the egotistic effort, when we stop saying, I have certain standards or I demand such and such for myself, then we can do the very best we can. We walk with full concentration in the moment and let everything else take care of itself. Something else that must be given up to the idea of labeling. Something else that must be given up is the idea of labeling. This is highlighted. So starting off with this highlighted part, something else that we must give up is the idea of labeling. And it goes on, this universe and everything is included in ourselves in a flowing situation. There are no fixed identities. The true Buddhist didn't say, I am Buddhist, or I am Zen Buddhist, or I am Tibetan Buddhist. We are just human beings. When the Buddha was asked to give a definition of reality, he didn't put any label onto it. He didn't put any label on it. He referred to ongoing and not becoming, not made, not compounded. He directed us to look into matters of our own experience, to examine the nature of suffering. Where does our suffering come from? My way, my opinion. This is the way things should be. I have to do it this way. When we let go of the egoistic way of life, we discover what Abuka said. Mind, universal mind, or reality is no other than Buddha, and Buddha is no other than sentient beings. Mind, universal mind, or reality is no other than Buddha, and Buddha is no other than sentient beings. So, right here. We're going to finish up this chapter right here. When mind assumes the form of sentient beings, it has suffered no decrease. And when it becomes a Buddha, it has added nothing to itself. When mind assumes the form of sentient beings, it has suffered no decrease. And when it has become a Buddha, it has added nothing to itself. So clear away these deep-seated notions that a real, substantiated, and abiding ego exist. Thank goodness it does not. It did not, and it will not. What a relief. As we go along in this practice, we begin to see things differently, but we do not expect anything. Don't think my life will change dramatically. To say my life is to go back to that egoistic process. Just do what needs to be done and let the results take care of themselves. Be patient. Everything will change. Chapter 17, Daily Life Practice is the Way. Little sneak preview for those overachievers who might want to see a little peek into what tomorrow has to offer. I get you. I understand. It's interesting. That page right there, this very chapter, that was pretty much the halfway point we just crossed. A little over the halfway point now. Shout out to the very, very hip lady, Maureen Stewart. She's not with us anymore, at least in the physical way that we interpret it as humans, but she is with us in the spiritual way that we as Buddhists attempt to interpret it. So she might not be with us physically, but she is with us spiritually. And I appreciate her sharing her wisdom and sharing her life's work with us. I really do. It means a lot. Excuse me. Yeah, I really do appreciate her sharing this with us. I also appreciate Carolyn. I don't know where Carolyn is now. Something tells me there's an address actually in this book too, in the first page. I'm not going to dox her, the person who owned this book. I guess at some point the book was left at a book drop, kind of like a neighborhood library kind of book you take a book, leave a book sort of deal. And yeah, I grabbed it one day when I was walking my dog. And it's interesting, as someone who usually doesn't really look too much into, or at least I used to not look into books that much, I figured this book was probably relevant. And so I grabbed it. And then I saw that it was highlighted in a bunch of spots. And I was like, well, even better. We'll just go through and see what someone else thought was important. But yeah, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and wrap things up for today. I guess if some parting wisdom from yours truly. I see what she means when she says stuff like, you can't really like say these phrases, or these things don't really mean anything to you until you've experienced them. And it reminds me of, I'll close out with this. It reminds me of something an old college buddy had mentioned. And what he told me and what he told everybody in like a chapter meeting was, you make time for what's important. You make time for what's important. What does that mean? Well, that means, to me at least, that if something's important to you, you will make time for it. And it seems simple, seems obvious, but it's actually much deeper than that. And I think it's deeper than he probably even thought it was at the moment he was quoting it. But I think someone else had told him the same thing. And probably someone before that had told that guy. But like right now, right? For example, you're here because for some reason, the same reason I'm here telling you this, it's important. To me, you make time for what's important. And to me, sharing this book is important. To Maureen Stewart, making this book was important. So to her, she made time for this because to her, the Zen teachings were just that. They were important. You know? I had started on this YouTube channel. It might be on my other one at EFlyX, which is kind of... that one is actually on sabbatical right now, just due to content issues and due to... I don't want to get in any trouble with it, so it's already got 2 strikes. A third one, it gets deleted. It's a YouTube channel I had since like 2008 or 2009, so I don't want to lose all that. But originally I started with War of the Worlds, and I was reading that. That's part of the public domain. H.G. Wells' novel, science fiction novel, War of the Worlds. And I might come back to it. I think I most likely will, just because it's where I was really starting. But to me, the reason I didn't continue it, and I even thought about this at the time, was it wasn't important. For some odd reason, I thought it was important, but then once it came to the actual process of making time for it, it wasn't that important. When I finish up this book next month, next month we have Malcolm X. That's going to be a month-long thing where we're talking about every chapter every day. We're going to be talking about it in length. We're going to make our way through the whole book, and then we're going to discuss what sort of societal ramifications or societal implications that book had. Like, where did that book fit into the cultural and social and cultural zeitgeist? Like, how did that book fuse with today's world? And to me, that is important. And I'm not saying H.G. Wells isn't important, because he is, and that novel is important. It is. But right now, I haven't made time for it because right now it isn't important. So, what am I saying? Why am I saying it in such a long way? Well, I'm just saying, next time you say, "Oh, I can't help you out, Susie. I got this other stuff going on," or "I can't help you out, Bobby. I can't help you move. I got this other stuff going on." Whatever, every single day, you're choosing to do something, and the stuff you don't choose to do, or the stuff you say no to, the reason you say no to it at the end of the day is because it is not important. It's not to say it won't ever be important. It's not to say it's not important to somebody, but to you at that exact moment, it's not important. So, to give credit to Adam, wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. To give credit to Adam, you make time for what's important. And he was exactly right. And the reason, I guess, the origin of that story, or why he said it that day, is because some people didn't show up to community service. We had like a community service or like philanthropy event that brothers were supposed to attend, and some people didn't. I think I was there. I'm usually not one to miss something like that. But in any case, let's just say I wasn't there for story's sake. His point was, is you make time for what's important. You guys could all go out and drink last night and party, but you couldn't be here on Saturday morning to help with the community service event at the local community center. So you made time for what's important, partying and hanging out with chicks and hanging out with your buds. But when it came back to helping those less fortunate and offering your abilities to better the community in a more productive or more socially redeemable way, it wasn't important. We were too hungover. We didn't care enough. We figured, hey, there's not gonna be chicks at that, and there's gonna be chicks at this, so why would we not? Or there's gonna be a bunch of fun people hanging out on Friday night. Who wants to go to a community service event at 8 a.m. on Saturday? That doesn't sound fun. And I guess if there's a takeaway from that, like, origin story of this whole quote and this whole little lesson or this whole little spiel, show up to the community service events. Have fun if you want on a Friday night. But looking back on it, you don't ever want to be the person who does this and doesn't do this. Because at the end of the day, Maureen would tell you too, helping other people is where people truly derive their self-worth from. And when you're getting loaded and doing all that, you're not really helping anyone but yourself. So, just some food for thought. And hey, I don't want to seem grandstandy here or anything, because, I don't know. I don't know. A wise man knows he knows nothing, right? And let's just say I don't know anything. But what I do know is I appreciate you being here if you've made it this far. I appreciate you joining me along this journey. Drop a comment down below what your thoughts are, maybe what your thoughts are on this quote, what your thoughts are on other chapters. Are you excited for February, for Malcolm X month? Let me know. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys for a while tonight. Much love always. Stay safe out there. Take care of each other. And appreciate those around you. Appreciate the small things. And remember, you always make time for what's important. I appreciate you once again. Be safe. Take care. Your boy EFly is